Hello, it's Daniel Hopper. Um, so in this video, I'm just gonna go over some of the stuff I learned this month, some of my more favorite projects that we did, some of the more interesting things I had to deal with, uh, and just go from there. So Maya, this is the first 3D software that I've ever used. Um, it's a lot of information to try to deal with all at once. So, and then I had some weird stuff. I've got this file open because this is the environment challenge, uh, not the one we actually finished out and rendered. So it doesn't have any lights or anything in it, but it uh, it did a lot of weird stuff. Uh, but it was really helpful to learn how to deal with some of these things. So the big problem I had was the telescope master group. So I got the telescope out here, I scaled it down, rotated it, all that good stuff. So when I come to telescope turn group to rotate the top, wrong button, uh, no, no, telescope turn group, this is all that uh, is lighting up, right? So this and the telescope turn group were not, and I'll just let's see, it would do this. And then another kind of weird situation is now it seems to have duplicated itself somehow right there. So undo that. Um, what was that? Oh, okay. So I figured if I could highlight this, press Control, highlight the cylinder, that they would operate together, right? So that's kind of neat. Uh, so I got that working. Right now I'm just gonna, because I've got two, I'm gonna delete that one. Um, telescope turn group and telescope cylinder geo. All right, so the an issue I ran into is that even though these all appear to be in, line with one another, the cylinder's pivot point was set to the center of the cylinder. So when they were when I grabbed them both together and tried to rotate them, it broke. And this would rotate around this point maybe instead of back here. Uh, I thought that it was something that was intentionally like uh, messed up, so that we would have to try to fix it. And so I figured out, I can't remember where it is. Might be in attributes. Um, I'm not gonna go through and find it right now, but I basically had to find the pivot points for the turn group in the world space, not local space, but in the world space, and write them out on paper, come to this and find the pivot point for that and change it to the same one as the turn group. So then now rather they will turn together. So that's, that was I thought it was a intentional thing that we were supposed to try to figure out on our own. And when I learned that it wasn't, like, Christian didn't have that same problem, uh, I thought it was really cool that I was able to go through and fix it. Oh yeah, okay, so pivots, boom, right there. So I had to world world rotate pivot uh, these things and plug that information into the cylinder. So that was pretty interesting. Troubleshooting my way around this was a lot of fun. I broke it a lot, especially this project. At one point, I don't know how I did it, but this was no longer connected to the wall, and the wall, just this wall though, had been slightly rotated to the left, I guess, or counterclockwise. Uh, so yeah, I had to I had to figure out how to fix the things after I broke them. I'm still not really quite sure how I broke them, but you know, obviously this was highlighted, and I just did that at some point, and then tried to get it back to normal. Control Z is a lifesaver. Uh, but yeah, so this was a that's weird. This was an interesting one. Uh, okay, so I'm looking at my notes here. Some of the projects that I'm more proud of, or that I'm most proud of, I really like this. I think it came out really cool. Just messing with the lights in Maya and learning how they operate and how you can, take this, it's a gray model. So there's no color to the model itself. So taking the lights and making something that looks moderately, realistic was pretty cool. So this was the original 3-point that I did. Uh-oh, battery low. This was the original 3 points I did. Let's see, hold on, plug this in. Okay, sorry. So this is the original 3-point that I did. Uh, it was it was fun. I like trying to match the lights. Um, and then this is the image after I took it through Nuke and modified the colors and the exposures and all that good stuff. This is probably my favorite render from the environment. Um, I just really like it. I think the warm colors kind of nice. Uh, looks kind of like, yeah, it's supposed to be sunrise, so it looks, kind of like at a sunrise. So that was fun. Um, some of the I guess you'd call them tricks for working in Maya. This is the most helpful setup ever. You can environment cam 1. Let's turn off. No. Let's turn off wires. Unhighlight that. Set this to perspective. And let's just make a light. So our rectangular light. Bring it out. Bring it up. Scale it. Let's scale it super big. Uh, rotate it around. There we go. And we hit render here. And so now I can, as I work in this, I can watch the adjustments that I'm doing as they're being made, which it's going to take it a minute. I guess because I got all this stuff open down here. Uh, hmm. So yeah, just that's really helpful. Um, Probably the only way that I was able to complete that project is because of this setup, because it would have been uh, monstrously complicated to try shutting the render off, adjusting the lights, turning the render back on, and seeing how close I was and where I needed to move them from there, turning it off, turning it back on, adjusting. Yeah, and then if you try to adjust while it's like if you like while the render is turned on and you move something more than a couple clicks away, it this is really gonna drag. Anyway, it'll like black the screen for a while, and then it'll have to basically reset and start doing the render all the way over again, and you have no idea where you've moved things to at that point, and it's kind of an ordeal. So this is really helpful. Uh, Messing around in the channel box, uh, I haven't touched most of this stuff, to be perfectly honest. It is it's pretty daunting just looking at it. I have no idea what most of this would be used for. I mean, like color, of course, uh, but cheap caustics, I don't know what that is. So all of this stuff is Greek to me down here. But this, if I can, especially like I'm terrible about it, and I know I didn't do it. Just okay, cool, I did do it. Locking the cameras. So I will get my cameras set up, uh, and then forget to switch to perspective camera, and I'd get my cameras just where I wanted them. Great shot, perfect, beautiful composition, all that good stuff. And then I would uh I would rotate to, I'd do this to get in at a different angle, do whatever I was going to do. Uh and then 45 minutes later I'd realize that I was on environment cam 1 the whole time. Oh, environment cam 1. And so I had to go back and figure out where I had it originally placed and fix it, and yeah. So these are also kind of helpful if you put something, I guess, like if this, I wanted to know where it was at this, yeah, I could figure out where I had it rotated to, and then if I messed with it and broke it or played with it too much and couldn't get it right, I could just go back, type these numbers back in. Uh, it's a little I don't want to say it's not redundant. Kind of uh, I can't think of the word. It's a little difficult uh, having like if you write all this stuff out and then just go back and arduous. That's the word. Uh, so a lot of the time, if you get something where you like it, it's always great. Just go through, lock it, and then maybe duplicate it and play with the duplicate. If you can delete it, you know, but you've still got your original one saved. You can also hide it, uh, duplicate it, hide the original the way you want it, and work and see if you can come up with something better without losing the progress on the work you've already done. Uh, let's see. The real world cameras, uh, understanding how they work, how light works, uh, how rendering itself actually works. Uh, I think that'll help in future classes. It'll definitely give me a technical understanding of how to put things together. Um, I guess maybe not so much with the physical camera, but that information was really interesting too. I didn't know how a camera worked. I mean, I knew the basic light stuff. Uh, I didn't know about the decay rate of light. Like I said, I'm kind of a physics nerd. I uh, I know that now I know that it's the same, the inverse square. It's the same way gravity decays as you move away from a solid body. So that's, again, physics nerd. That's kind of cool to me. Um, it was cool to learn how an actual camera, like a real camera, works as well. Um, let's see. Okay, node editing in Nuke. So this, I've got the images loaded up in here. So type tab exposure, tab exposure, tab exposure, tab exposure, and we just bring them and plug them in. Pretty straightforward, simple stuff, but it's confusing so far because I don't really know. Like, I understand this concept and I understand how this particular thing works, and then the merge node, we can bring all that in. I understand how to do that, you know, the but operation overlay viewer viewer. There we go. Uh-oh. What happened? Plus, that's the one, not overlay. Uh, so I mean, I understand how to do this, and I understand what it can be used for, but again, and I haven't had a whole lot of time spent messing with this program, so the level of confusion I feel is probably just unfamiliarity with it. I feel like once I can really dive in and start, you know, doing other things in here, because when we had the assignment where we placed our landscape drawing and digital painting into the scene, that was basically plug this thing here, plug this thing here, plug this thing here, and you're good to go. But all of the other stuff that we had in there uh, that we didn't put in, there was, this is an exaggeration, but there was probably maybe 60 nodes, and I have no idea uh, what any of them do or were or what their function might be. I just know that whenever we plugged our stuff in, the picture came out. It looked really cool. Um, so just this little opening bit that we did here was pretty interesting and it was fun to learn. Uh, and I hope we get, you know, to get a little more experience with this kind of stuff. Uh, right now, or this month, almost all of my attention has been focused on this program, and I like it. It's fun. Uh, it's fun to use. It's really interesting to learn how to do all this stuff. I really want to do some modeling. Um, I've been kind of watching videos on that. I want to maybe do like a little character model just on my own in my free time. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I also kind of want to mess with the Bifrost stuff because it talks about like liquid containers. I have no idea what it is. Seems interesting, but yeah, Maya has been a lot of fun. Uh, okay, so Unity, I don't know if there's something that I'm just missing, but Unity kicked my butt. It's even in my notes. It says it right here. Unity kicked my butt. I had to watch the videos probably 6 times before I started making any headway on this because I would, and when I did start making headway on it, it was because I was watching. He would do something in the video, and I would pause the video and then come in here and do it. Uh, so I uh, I don't know. It confused me. Um, but this is also maybe the second time since I've downloaded it that I've opened Unity. So I have zero experience with this. We did the first project, which was in digital painting, where we put our landscape on the wall in the art gallery in Unity, and that was extremely simple because it was basically just grab it, pull it into the scene, and put it in place. And again, everything else was already pre-made for us, which was cool, but I uh, I had no idea what I was doing throughout this part. Uh, I got a little better as I progressed through following along. So now I know about the post-processing stuff. I actually had to go. Well, I don't know if I had to, but I went into the asset store and downloaded and installed all this uh, directional lights. So lights in Unity are, and I'm going to let's see, save. Uh, Save. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Save assets. Cool. All right. So there. So now I'm going to play with it a little bit. And lights in Unity seem a little less, not complicated, because they're not really complicated in Maya, but they seem a little more straightforward, I guess. So I can take this, and I know I'm doing this in a really weird way, but raise it up, angle, range, and so it's a little easier, I guess, because you can see what you're going to be lighting. Whereas with Maya, you see more of just the, oh gosh, you see more of just like the direction the light is going. With the square light, you can do the cone angle, and it'll tell you basically like where it's going. You can adjust the softness of the cone, all that good stuff. But as far as just basic, oh, come on. Okay, no, still not working. Oh, this is baking. Uh, so just as far as you automatically this, you get to just see what's going to be lit in the scene. Uh, all this stuff is right here for you to play with. Uh, so it's similar software, but it's different, and it's almost the same problem I had when I switched from Clip Studio Paint to Photoshop. I got used to doing things one way. Come on. In Maya, you know what? Lighting. No, just stop. Okay. So I got used to doing things one way in Maya. Okay, here we go. Yeah. And then, you know, because now over here, you want to mess with the light, you go over here, go to the attribute editor, and do whatever you're going to do in here. Uh, and then you would go to the renders. Oh gosh. Go to the. My computer is dragging right now. Got way too much going on. So you would go into the render settings and, you know, figure out what you wanted to do, common, all this good stuff. So you would basically be, it's you can do the same things, I assume. I don't know about render settings or anything like that in here because I don't think we render things out here. I think this is all in-game stuff. Uh, so I don't think that like there would be like a render or like a yeah. Uh, so just let's see how that looks. It's still very white. Uh, so yeah, just it's a it there's a lot of similarities between the software. I especially like that the main hotkeys up here are the same, and that like Alt and the mouse work the same way and let you do things exactly as you did in Maya, and then even in kind of in Nuke too, because Alt, but there's no real like if I yeah hotkeys are not so got merged. I can't remember what other nodes I was creating the other day. But yeah, so merge. Uh, uh, so just hotkey M merge node. So this is going to be kind of different to learn how to work effectively, I guess, or basically to learn how to do what I want to do instead of having to type tab merge and make a merge node like that. Uh, tab exposure, you know. Uh, so yeah, that's going to be an issue because the hotkeys in here, I basically got my hand like there's muscle memory now where I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers on Q, W, E, R, and my thumb on the Alt button, and I can just basically do whatever I need to do here. Rotate the light, scale it up, and swivel around, see how that looks, all that, you know. And then again, you can do the same things in Unity. Uh, and scale, rotate the sphere for some reason. Uh, yeah, so that's all been really fun. It was a really cool month. Uh, had a lot of fun. Can't wait to get more into this because I really want. Well, really, I like this a lot. Uh, I like Maya a lot. It's been a lot of fun learning. Uh, but I'm looking forward to making assets. Really modeling. I like drawing characters. Just random new characters that I just make up. And so I'm really wanting to model some of those and then maybe put them in here. And then I know in the digital painting project that we did while we were in here, we had a like it was a first person. You could like walk around and there was a control scheme. So I can't wait to see like maybe make my characters that I draw from scratch and model them and then apply a control to them and move around with them, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. I think I went through these already. Yeah. Um, okay. Well, I guess that is it for me. It's been a fun month. Learned a lot. Uh, and I can't wait to get into next month. All right. Well, I'll see y'all around.